Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Today's session will be a very exciting one. And about 30 minutes before the class, I uploaded the slide deck to our OneDrive or the Google Drive. So you should be able to access that. Today's video, I could not upload them yet. I will upload after the class. So probably by tomorrow, you will have all those videos, whatever the topic I'm going to cover today, along with our today's lecture. Okay, so first thing before I start the lecture, and I wanted to do one exercise with you guys. Consider that exercise as an add-on. It was not in the agenda, but I just want to give you guys a quick overview how the web servers are configured and built and all that. I'm not gonna go much details on the security side, but we'll just give you an idea that how easy it is to build a web server and then launch your website on it. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna just quickly go into the console. Those like Raza as an example, he already has one Linux instance running. So I want you guys to, you don't have to follow me, just launch one Linux instance, okay? So I am in my EC2 dashboard. Are you guys able to see my screen? Sorry, I forgot to ask.
Yes, we are.
Okay, all righty. Okay, so let's just do one thing here. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna launch.
Sorry. One suggestion though, I was going through the videos. It would be helpful if you could like zoom in while you're recording, because even in on the full screen image, it kind of is difficult to read.
Okay, how about now? Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Better.
The Zoom is pretty much double the size what I am used to working on my laptop. But anyways, all right, so I'm gonna click on launch instance. I'm gonna launch Linux. I'm gonna quickly run that. Click on free tier. I'm gonna pick Amazon Linux, nothing fancy, everything default here. Click next, configure, leave everything as default. All right, so next is add storage. We'll leave the storage as is. Add tag, I'm gonna just give it a tag. Let's say name Linux web server. All right. Okay, next is security group. I'm gonna select my existing one, the one which we created yesterday that has port 22 and 3389. These are the two we have here at this time. Two ports that we open. All right, next review and launch. Don't worry about the warning. Existing key pair, I'm gonna pick my Linux key pair. I acknowledge, click launch instance. Instance is being launched, okay? Instance is launching, running, and just leave it running as is for now. I'm gonna go back to our today's lecture, okay? All right, so today's lecture is, it's gonna mainly cover our security, identity, and compliance. What does it cover? What Amazon offers? What are the areas which are which we need to be worried about and we need to pay attention while we're working in either in a corporate environment or a small job or small shop or maybe I'm just playing around. So these are the areas, not just only for the job purposes, but also for interview and for the exam purpose as well. There's a lot of things that are being covered. So we're gonna be covering what are the areas that are fall under security, identity, and compliance. Not just only AWS, but any cloud provider will have the same thing. They may have a different name of the service, but the underlying principle is the same. So first thing is service we're gonna look into is the identity and access management, or people call it INAM. Also, people call it IAM. Second is the detection category, what is covered under the detection. Third is the infrastructure protection category, then data protection category, and then incident response. And last but not the least is the compliance. And then we will have, bunch of labs we're gonna be, doing today. All right, so first thing is what is covered under INAM or IAM, however you like it. Amazon call it IAM service, okay? And that, this link is gonna take you to Amazon's product or security product page, and you can read some additional or get some additional or more detailed information about all those categories, which I'm going to cover in next 5 or 6 slides here. Okay, these are the Amazon services names, and these are their use cases or examples or their purposes. IAM is very common service, very commonly used. It is to manage the access to the services and the resources that Amazon offers or AWS offers. Okay, in the IAM area, there are two things which are of very importance. One is authorization, and another one is authentication.
Faisal bhai, sorry to interrupt. The EC2 Linux that you provision, was that the LAMP server or just a standard web server?
Just a standard server. We're gonna be So along with the web server, it will have a couple of things that we're gonna be doing in the lab as well.
Okay. So for those who are selecting the catching up to that, they just need to select the EC2 with the web server on.
No, not the web server one. Just pick the first default one. Do not.
Got it.
Because we're gonna be I'm gonna be installing the web server.
Okay, got it. Standard Linux server.
Standard Linux server, yes. The very top one, the Amazon Linux one. Just pick that one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so identity and access management. That covers, and we're gonna be doing a lab of this area as well. There are two major things in IAM that are of importance, and they are the top categories under this area. One is the authentication, and the one is the authorization. Authentication covers who, and authorization covers why. So if I am authenticating someone, that is who is being authenticated. Is it a resource that is being authenticated? It is the person that is being authenticated. So the authentication is like, am I allowed to enter into a facility? Am I allowed to enter into a server? Am I allowed to enter into someone's house? So that's the authorization. Oh, sorry, that's the authentication. If somebody is letting me in, either on the server or into the facility, that means that I have built some trust relation with that, with that organization or with that person. That's why I am authenticated to go in and perform my work. Now, the other piece is the authorization. Authorization is up to what extent can I perform my work? Up to what extent can I roam around in that facility? Up to what extent can I roam around in that server or in that instance or in that S3 bucket or whatever the infrastructure component is? As an example, if I am going as a guest to someone's house, probably my authorization will be up to their living room or maybe to the family room, okay? Not to their guest rooms, or not to their master room or master bedroom, right? So that is a different level of authorization there. So authorization is up to what extent can I explore that facility, and put it in the similar aspect, up to what extent can I explore or perform my work into my AWS console or into the instance which I just built or into the instance, which is, which they were, they granted me the access for. So these are the two areas that are covered under IAM or IAM service. It is of importance. In big organizations, there's a dedicated set of resources. Their purpose and their their job description is to just work only on the IAM area. Grant someone access, revoke someone's access, elevate the access, revoke the access, or decelerate the access. So it's all about that. Okay. Next one is the AWS single sign-on. Single sign-on service is, let's say I have an application running. Let's say Fiverr. Let's take Fiverr as an example. So instead of me creating an account in Fiverr or any other these days, whatever the common application is. So what they offer is, hey, why don't you, instead of filling out the entire form and everything, why don't you just provide like we are offering you to, instead of filling in the entire form and filling in the everything, instead of that, we have the capability to get you authenticated through your Gmail account or through your Outlook account or through your some other service provider's account. So that is that is covered under the SSO or single sign-on. That my sign-on, I have already trust relation or authentication already trusted through my Gmail account or to my Gmail account, and I can use that to create my credentials to, let's say, the Fiverr, Fiverr.com or some other the common service providers. So SSO does not work only on the external areas. Let's say I am one entity that is holding a authenticated credentials for my Gmail account, and I am trying to authenticate to some other third-party service. Okay, there's a token relation, and once I log in there, provide my credential, they go in there, get the authentication, token authenticated, and then grant me the access to that application. That is the external use. Internal use is, let's say I'm working in an organization and we have, like, let's say 200 different applications where we have to log in. So either I remember login credential for each of those applications, or I log in with one credential, let's say my EID or employee ID, that authentication authenticates me to the other application components as well. So that is single sign-on, that I don't have to remember like 200 different passwords, or maybe let's say 20 different passwords. So that's the main purpose of the single sign-on service. Amazon Cognitive Service, it is the IAM service mainly for the applications. Let's say you have some application and you want to run the similar authentication authorization services for that specific application only. Cognitive Service provides that. Amazon Directory Service, same, they offer that they have a similar service as Microsoft AD or Microsoft's Active Directory, and that goes and authenticates through your Active Directory. So instead of you are building up an entire infrastructure of your Microsoft AD on your on-prem or maybe cloud or the Azure AD, they say, Amazon is saying, hey, offering that, hey, you know what, why going into that pain? We have this service offering. You build Amazon Directory Service in the AWS area, and that will go and get you authenticated through your your on-prem AD or your Azure AD. And then they have the Resource Access Manager. That is the whatever the resources you have. Let's say I have some load balancers, some firewalls, some application servers, and some other some more services. So how do I share the access among all those services? That's the Resource Manager come in handy. AWS Organization, it is bigger organizations, they have like multiple accounts. Let's say, finance department has their own account that they are maintaining. Marketing has their own. Let's say engineering has their own. IT has their own. Let's say IT has like, maybe 3-4 different, one for developers, one for contractors, one for production or whatever and whatnot. So bigger organizations, they have like multiple accounts. So Amazon, what it offers is, blanket them all into a single umbrella. They call it Amazon or AWS organizations. So all those accounts, they get connected, under the same umbrella. So that's what, and it's a central governance and, the management, it is, easier management for, for the resources who are managing all those accounts. All right, so moving on next is the category is the detection category. Previous one was user and resource authentication and authorization on the whole. Okay, but here, this one is AWS detection. It detects means that it works as a sentry or it works as a security guard. Stands right there by your infrastructure. Okay, different services have different purposes. So those services, they stand by your infrastructure, always on a lookout. So Security Hub, what it does is AWS Security Hub, it provides a unified, security and compliance center. So it actually, it goes around your entire infrastructure. Keep an eye out if there's any security vulnerabilities identified, or if there's any compliance issue, pops up, or if there's any zero-day vulnerability identified, or if there's any patching issue popped up. So whatever it is, it keeps an eye out on for you. And in the hub, you have the dashboard and you get all the information there. Guard duty is it manages the threat detection. So whatever the threats are, inevitable coming from the outside, so it keeps an eye out for them for you. And soon as it finds some threat, it just informs you. Inspector is it analyzes the application layer. It does not, its key role is to analyze the application. It does not go anything lower into the infrastructure. Okay, like it does not go check your servers or check your EC2 instances or S3 or whatever. So it just checks for the application layer security. AWS config, pretty much a similar purpose. It records and evaluates the configuration of your resources. So let's say you have infrastructure. Let's say you have like 5 services been used, and the whole entire infrastructure is like, you have like, let's say 200 different Amazon resources interconnected to each other. Now what it does is it checks all the entire infrastructure and their configuration as well. Let's say you made a mistake and you open a hole there, or you poke a hole and that actually you did not realize, and it opens up for the for the entire world. Or you have some misconfiguration in your infrastructure, so or in your resources. So what it does is it scans and then provides you a very detailed report that that these are the areas that are going against the best practices. Try to fix them, or shut them down, or whatever the best possible method is. CloudTrail is very commonly used. So what it does is all your APIs, all your firewalls, your flow logs, or whatever your application is, whatever the logs your application is generating. So CloudTrail, keeps track of all of them. Your application APIs, it keeps track of of them all, and it gives you a dashboard where you manage, or where you analyze or review what is happening there. Where do I need to step in and fix those areas, or what are the areas where, let's say your users are trying to connect but they are not able to connect and they're getting some error message. Then you go and check into your into the CloudTrail logs and find out, hey, is there anything happening on my API side, or on my application side, or on my other logs I'm going to look into and find out, hey, what is happening that is inhibiting access to, let's say, one set of resources, but the other set of resources are able to connect without any problem. So, this is like, warlog messages for your Linux system, or even viewer for your, for your Windows systems. IoT device defender, I'll just quickly go on that. I'm not gonna go into detail of that. So these days, there are small Internet of IoT stands for Internet of Things, the small devices that generate data on a constant scale. Let's say you build some physical application or some physical device or some physical tool that has, let's say, different sensors into it, and those sensors, they are generating data on a constant pace. So in order to secure that infrastructure, Amazon offers the iOS device defender that actually creates a shield across those, so that nobody breaks in, or nobody get in and try to perform any malicious work out of it. Next one is the infrastructure protection. So that is the outer boundaries of your infrastructure that needs to be protected, or the outer shield. So it has AWS Shield, AWS WAF, or web application firewall, and the AWS Firewall Manager. AWS Shield, what it does is it protects your infrastructure from the denial of service attacks. They are very common. And what happens is, let me just see. So this is slide number 6. Give me 1 second.
That's why, just a quick question. Are these services paid for, or are these free from Amazon?
Majority of them are free. Like they are covered under the free tier. But there are some
even the ReadOS?
You have to pay for it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna move to denial of service. Okay. So what happens when a denial of service attack happens? So this is one type. So let's say these are your servers, and you want to protect them. Let's say this is your web server, for example. So the malicious attacker, what they do is, through their machine, they find or locate vulnerable machines, or the machines that they infected, like infected through a virus or clickbait or whatever and whatnot, and then use that machine to generate an attack against your web server. So what happened is, your web server, once, let's say your web server has the capability to handle, let's say, 100,000 simultaneous connections. Okay, like 100,000 people they come in, and they, let's say, reach out to your site. Let's say you are bestbuy.com. So that let's say that bestbuy.com only handles 100,000, so without any problem. So what this DDoS attack does is utilizes all those infected machines and start sending some spoof request or some fake request to it, so that your server gets bombarded with all those requests, and at one point in time your server will not be able to fulfill those requests back. So because of that reason, the legit users, those who wanted to connect to the Best Buy, they will not be able to connect to it. Either they will see the performance issues on the site, like site is loading, like taking some time to load, or even the site is not loading, or you're not even getting connected to it. So that is the main purpose of the DDoS attack. And this Amazon Shield, it actually shields around your infrastructure, around your servers and all the application area here, so that all these attacks that are coming in, they're not going to be able to make it to your servers. So this is an example of DDoS attack. There is one more type which is called DOS attack, only denial of service, not distributed denial of service. So denial of service is, let's say this malicious attacker has only one machine, and that machine is just attacking your server. So instead of all these multiple machines, instead of that, it's just only one machine, and that is just constantly bugging your server, and your server is trying to fulfill that request, and that actually fills up its bucket up to a point where it either crashes the server, or the server is not able to handle all those requests. Very common type. So that's why Amazon came up with their AWS Shield service. And there's a web service, web application firewall. It filters your web traffic or the top layer of your infrastructure, or not top layer in the sense that the component of your application that is exposed to the outside world. Again, coming back to the example of bestbuy.com, they will have a classical example is three-tier architecture. With that three-tier architecture, you have your web servers, then you have your application servers, and then you have your database servers. So those web servers, they are exposed to the outside world or to the internet, and the remainder of the infrastructure underneath it, that is not exposed to the outside world. So what happens is this web application firewall, or WAF, it actually covers or protects your web servers, or the where the web traffic is coming in. And then AWS firewall manager, it is a centralized management that pretty much covers the entire infrastructure. So as an example, Fortinet is one company that makes firewalls, and then Checkpoint has has the capability as well. There are several other companies out there. Cisco also builds firewalls. F5 is another company. So there are tons and tons of companies outside, and Amazon also offers the same capability as well. Next one is the data protection. So we covered our infrastructure, we covered our the outer layer, we covered our inner layer, we covered our users as well. Now we're going another level down, which is our data, and that is supposed to your data supposed to be in the secure most place. Okay, so what Amazon is offering, Amazon currently offering 5 different services. Amazon Macie, it just discovers and protect your sensitive data. KMS is their key management service, so it manages and stores your keys. One example, like we were the PM and PPK file, that is an example of asymmetric keys. There are 2 different types of keys. One is the symmetric and asymmetric. The topic is going to go too advanced, so I'm not going to go in detail on that. So Amazon offers a key vault service where whatever the keys you have for the infrastructure to encrypt your data or to secure your data or your applications, so it keeps it into the vault. So Amazon offers that instead of you going outside and purchase some some third party service. You just have that capability within your cloud infrastructure that holds and manages that. Cloud HSM is the hardware security module, mainly for the compliance purposes. So hardware is like those who are in IT, they must have seen now that things are moved into the virtual ones, which is either on the phone or on your laptop. But they used to be a physical device, a small device that has a screen on it, and after a certain time where those numbers change, so that keep on changing, they are called the RSA keys. So pretty much along the similar principle, Amazon offers the same cloud HSM service. Certificate manager is, it manages, handles, and maintains and saves and secure your certificates. So example of a certificate, it could be your self-signed certificates or assigned by the certificate authority. Could be anybody that you are, you know, purchasing those certificates from. Let me just give you an example. And let's say if I go here, google.com, okay. Komal, was this the window key plus, right? Okay.
Yes, window key, and here you go.
Okay, how do I go to the top here? Okay, so you guys see that when I type the google.com, there is a padlock sign here. So if I click on this padlock, shows me that certificate is valid and the connection is secure. Okay, so if I click on this certificate, it shows me that this is the certificate that was issued by, issued to Google and issued by this GTS CA. CA stands for Certificate Authority. They issued this certificate. It was valid until September this year, pretty much. So it's like what, 3 months, for which, you know, they have the certificates every 3 months. You know, they will be, changing it or, you know, cycling it. You can find more details around the certificates here, and then the path and all that. So this is the global sign root certificate where, you know, this certificate is being authenticated from. Another example is I can go to my AWS console here. If you see the padlock sign, wherever you see this padlock sign, that tells that this is running on HTTPS service. If you guys remember, HTTPS service has, it runs on port 443, not 80. Okay, so port 80 is not a secure port. 443, the data that is being transferred across, it goes into an encrypted form. So if you run a virus sniffer of, as an example, Wireshark, that sniffs your that infrastructure or captures your packets, the IP packets, you will see only the garbage there. But if that is the traffic is port 80, which is a non-secure one, when you capture the packet for that traffic, you will be able to, you know, see the content or see the data inside it. So that's why, you know, they have this capability to secure the data through the SSL certificates. So if I click on it here, it says the certificate is valid. It may not be by the same company. So it is issued by Amazon. It's Amazon self-signed certificate, looks to me. And, you know, there are, you know, more details that what is the algorithm is used, issuer is what, and, you know, a lot of information in here. Those who wanted to, you know, make security their career, they might want to look into, you know, this is the area where, you know, you will have to, you know, work on or study, you know, how the certificate works and how the path goes, and, you know, what is the authentication mechanism and all that. All right, so if I go back again to this here, and then the secrets manager, which is the last one. Okay, the last one is the secrets managers. What secrets manager does is it manages your API or application programmer interface keys. And we will see, we will find more details as we proceed along what is API keys and your database credentials. There are, you know, just some of the examples, you know, that the secrets manager manages, handles, and, you know, secure it, you know, by itself. Okay, next one is the incident response. Let's say there's any incident happen or about to happen, or if there's a security breach happen to your infrastructure, what's going to happen? Like, is there any service by Amazon that, you know, protects me or informs me soon as I, you know, get hit? Amazon has one service called Amazon Detective Service. So it investigates, you know, any potential or any security issue that has happened to your infrastructure or about to happen, that like if it starts seeing that some malicious traffic start coming into your application or to your infrastructure, detective does that work for you. Another one is I don't know why do they put it in the incident response. This Cloud Endure disaster recovery. So Amazon offers a DR, a recovery service. There are tons and tons of third-party service providers out there, and disaster recovery is to protect your infrastructure, your entire application infrastructure, let's say into the AWS cloud. So it will have a replicated copy being constantly replicated of whatever the terms of RPO and RTO that you have set up with the or signed up with AWS. Based on that, what it does is, based on that, it replicates your production infrastructure into the cloud. Or let's say your production infrastructure is already in the cloud. It just makes another replicated copy. Let's say if one zone, it just goes down to the ground or burn down to the ground, then you still have a replicated copy there that you can promote to production and get your application up and running and ready. So that's one example. Or let's say you have the entire infrastructure is in on-prem in your data center. Then for the DR service, you don't want it to spend money on another set of replicated servers into your data center or another data center. So instead of that, you put your or you replicated your critical components of your application into the cloud. And Amazon, Cloud Endure service, that does that purpose for you. All right, so next one is compliance. There are different types of compliance. Depends on what industry you work on. Let's say you are in a credit card industry, you probably be compliant to the PCI standards. You are working and in a healthcare industry, you'll probably be aware of HIPAA compliance. And then federal government has different FedRAMP, FART, FISMA, those type of compliance. Those who process those organizations who process our personal information, like our name, date of birth, social security number. So that is regulated under the PII compliance, or personally identifiable information. So what this artifact does is it actually keeps an eye out on your infrastructure, mainly where the data is being stored, either your databases, your S3 storage buckets, or your EFS storage, and it checks for that that your data is encrypted, and wherever this compliance data is put in, let's say the company is processing our personal information, so it just makes sure that that S3 bucket where they are putting all this information is secure. Not everybody has write access or read access to it, only limited resources. Those who need access will have only read access to it, and plus the data which is sitting there is encrypted. So even if somebody breaks in, they try to look into it, since it's encrypted, so they will see only the garbage data, not the actual let's say my social security number or my date of birth and all those details. So our artifact, it's a free service, so it just scans your entire infrastructure and provides the report. Hey, here I am seeing compliance breaches, or here I am seeing that you need to work on. So there are lots and lots of compliances. It depends on which industry you are in. If you wanted to make a niche career, you might want to look into the compliance, maybe one specific compliance. Let's say I wanted to work only on GDPR, which is enforced by European Union, EU. One example of the GDPR enforcement is now when you go to any website, let's say going to some, let's say xyz.com, they should have that banner either top or up or wherever. The banner should be visible that, you know, they use the cookie, and you must have seen, you know, like majority of the sites, you know, they have that banner there. We use the cookie to restore the data and all that. So that's one example of, you know, EU's GDPR, you know, enforcement. There are lots and lots of compliances. Let's say, you know, you are interested in the federal compliance area only, you know, FedRAMP or, you know, FATFISMA, that's the area. So compliance is not going to go away anytime soon. If you have interest in security and inside the security into the compliance side, you know, look into that area. Okay. Before I move on to RBAC, any question on previous 5-6 slides?
Faisal bhai, one question. All of these that we discussed are under security, identity, and compliance. All of these services.
Yeah.
Broadly. Okay.
Yes. They fall under, you know, that umbrella.
Okay.
Yep. So this slide number 3, I guess. Yes. That's the umbrella, and these are the categories under that umbrella. That's what we discussed, you know, pretty much all those areas.
Faisal bhai, if I may just add a couple of comments. If you go to slide number 4, this is just to help everyone on here. I'll tell you about my current organization and as well as my past organization. I currently have, as well as in previously, multiple individuals that were just managing the IAM service. So you can actually build a career on just this service. Because of the amount of work that is needed, there are actually multiple people needed just to manage that one service, okay? I'm not gonna talk too much about the other services on here, but those are also very complicated. Typically, the IT infrastructure, the centralized management teams for the enterprise, they handle most of the single sign-on, directory service, resource manager, and organizational components, okay? That's a very involved work as well. Faisal bhai, next slide, please.
Sure.
Okay, on slide number 5 here, this is also all related to security. For those who are interested in cybersecurity, each of these services that are mentioned here are very important, very critical. I'll tell you about, you know, AWS Config and CloudTrail. CloudTrail will give you what's happening in your environment. If you get familiarized with this process, if you start to build automation on it, that you need to know CloudTrail efficiently. AWS Config, you know, for those who are getting into, you know, auditing, inspection, that is what that is, along with the inspector. Okay. Next slide, please, Faisal bhai. By the way, each of these, yes.
If we can go back to the previous slide. So
Okay.
when you said CloudTrail,
Yes.
is that a real-time trail or is it a log-based trail or?
It's a real-time log of the environment. CloudTrail records all the activities that are happening, and they maintain 30-day retention of all the activity that's happening. And you can build automation. You want to get a real-time event captured and take some action, that can happen as well.
So how can you hold AWS's feet to this fire when we're in, if they provide these tools and we trust their tools, and if something fails, does AWS take any responsibility?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we found a lot of issues for AWS environments all the time, and we provide the feedback, help them grow, help us, you know, help them to help us better. It's a constant back and forth.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, first of all, just real quick, if you go to the next slide, please.
Sure.
Okay.
Let me just quickly answer, you know, add one more point here. So let's say if you left something open in your infrastructure, that's your responsibility,
Yeah.
not Amazon's, right? right? So Amazon is responsible off, you are responsible in the cloud. If you remember our first days, right?
Okay. We have a networking team geared to manage just the firewalls.
Yes.
This is big enough chunk of work for those who wants to get into networking, cloud networking. If you have done traditional on-prem, switch work, firewall work, this is the area that you would need to get into. Faisal Bhai, next slide, please. Okay, the key management service, it's huge. Every single application environment these days, they are enforcing that there are no hard-coded credentials in your scripts, in your programs and whatnot. And you need the KMS service integrated. There are compliance requirements for data to be on the cloud. It has to be secure, like your EBS, your S3, your EFS. How do you encrypt those data? And KMS is the service that will enable you to do that. Certificate manager, this is an administration in itself. Secrets manager sort of goes hand in hand with the KMS service as well. Okay, so each of these areas are a world in itself that you need to explore. Faisal Bhai, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kumal Bhai. And there are certain requirements by, like it varies organization to organization. In my organization, we have to rotate our keys every 75 days. We have to rotate our passwords every 75 days. And as Kumal Bhai mentioned, we are not allowed to hard code any key or any password or any secrets inside our code. It has to be secured into the KMS, or if there's any third-party KMS system that that the client is using. So this is the best practice and heavily enforced by the security, InfoSec or information security of our organizations. So if you are, let's say, if you are interested in, as Kumal Bhai mentioned, cloud firewalls or cloud network, interested in that, here it is, please. You have the chance now to, let's say you have worked in Cisco or F5 or any other, security or, firewall or the network area. Try to learn, the cloud networks and cloud security to take your career to the, to the next point. Right. This is in connection with our identity and IAM or identity and access manager. RBAC is, no matter what size of your organization is, RBAC stands for role-based access control. So whatever my role is, I'm going to be granted that access. If I do not have that specific requirement or specific role, I'm not supposed to, go in there. Let's say if I am supposed to work in the warehouse, what am I doing in the kitchen? Or if my work is only to maintain the backyard or my front yard or the landscaping work, what am I doing in the finance office or finance location? So pretty much the similar principle here. If it is not my work, I should not be granted access to it. And no matter the size of the organization, and this is also RBAC, we have, a dedicated group. That's what it does is they go to the client, review their RBAC. If they do not have that, and most of the time, they have the broken ones, then we sit and then, put together a very detailed and extensive one based on what sort of applications they are running. And then based on that, based on that RBAC control, the access or the control was granted to it. These are the best practices by Amazon. I'm not going to read through them all. You can click on the link or, you can read through that. Couple of ones here is, do not share your access keys, or, use custom, managed policies or enable MFA or multi-factor authentication, or, assign the the permissions to the group instead of the individuals, or assign the role to the group, not to the individual, and then you assign those individual to the groups. And we're going to do exercise here today as well onto this in this area. So create the group, assign the role to that group, and then you can add or remove the individual from that. And I have seen, like, some big size customers, they had like a list of resources or a list of end users that were granted permissions instead of using the group. Why? Because the first time that they deployed it, the guy who deployed it, he is like, hey, you know what, I'm not gonna go into the hassle of creating this many groups and then assigning those people in. We'll just hey, this request come in, assign that access to this person or revoke that access from that person. Next thing you know, the list grew so big that it was pretty much unmanageable for them. And user roll on and roll off, that means like people coming into the group or going out of that group, or people coming to the company and then being laid off or being being removed from the company. That roll on and roll off process was a nightmare for them. So these are the best practices, and pretty much in the industry, these are the ones which are deployed as well. We're gonna see like how to secure the password, what is this secure password policy and all that. Okay.
So Faisal bhai, do we have anything like we have a CyberArk for the privileged account and keys?
So CyberArk is just the PAM management. It does not manages your groups, or it does not manages your access. So CyberArk, let's say if my group has access to it, or if I am I have the access to it, or I am granted an access to it, I'm gonna go in there and pull the password or pull the key of that specific area. But here in this RBAC control it's not just only the keys or the the password management, but it also about what level of authorization I'm going to grant to this person. And if you look at this diagram here, the picture here, let's say you see this, the HR people, they have access to the general role, or they have access to the HR role. Okay. And then
sorry to interrupt. Somebody, Masood Rizvi, is raising his hand. He has a question.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Faisal, finish it first, and then I'll ask you the question.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So you see that the HR has access, or these are the groups, these are the individuals, these are the groups, and then these are the applications they need to have access to. So HR role, HR people have access to this HR role, and then HR role has access to the time card and the employee record. They do not have access to the customer database or the data center or email or whatever or whatnot. So it is like, whatever, I am, there's very common terminology is just slipping my mind, as soon as I have it, I'll let you guys know. So yeah, whatever my work role is, I'm gonna be, part of that role, and I will be, that role will be, mapped to that specific application or a specific area.
Is it segregation of duties?
Segregate. Thank you, Abir. Segregation of duties. Yes. So segregating in such a way that sales is not stepping into payroll, is not stepping into IT security, is not stepping into HR. So everybody has their own defined silos or segregated duties, and those duties are defined in the roles, and those roles are mapped to those application or the infrastructure area. Okay. All right. Yes. So what was your question?
Okay, Faisal, two questions. Number one is, does Amazon enforce any policy or guidelines when you're going for the services? Because I mean, if you leave anything,
Masood, can you speak up a little bit? Yeah.
Let me know if you can hear me now.
Better.
Okay. So does Amazon enforce any guidelines or any policy or anything on customers to for the security of their applications? Because if they leave it open, then they're making it vulnerable for the entire,
Yes.
Amazon maybe. So are there any guidelines for that?
Yes.
Number two is how big is this in the exam? I mean, how many percent questions, are being asked about this security and all that? Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, sure. To answer your first question, I will have to find that slide. So there are certain areas for which Amazon is responsible for, and then certain area which is the customer is responsible for. Mainly customer is responsible for the data in the cloud, and Amazon responsible for the infrastructure. So Amazon does not enforce you to put a tighter control or tighter security. They publish the best practice. They call it best practices for that specific area, that you should have a security of this tighter control to keep your infrastructure or keep your application or keep your data safe. One example is, if you guys remember, when we did the uh, let me just quickly do one thing here to give you an example here. Amazon warns you. Amazon does not enforce you to not to proceed ahead to the next stage or next level. It just gives you a warning. Hey, you know what? You see this warning. This is telling me that my infrastructure is open to the entire world. But Amazon is not stopping me to proceed ahead, because legally Amazon performed their duty, that they warned me that, hey, you know what, you're not doing it right. This may gonna cause you your data, or this may gonna cause you your entire infrastructure. The guarantee, not the guarantee, but fair chance that if the breach happen, is gonna stop at that layer. It's not gonna come to Amazon layer, because Amazon already has secure their infrastructure and secure it to the point where nothing's gonna breach from the customer end to them. But there's no guarantee. You never know that down the road, or maybe tomorrow, Amazon might have something that is gonna come and breach their entire infrastructure. But anyways, to answer your questions, Amazon publishes, not just Amazon, pretty much all providers, they publish best practices that tells you, hey, you know what, these are the best practices you need to follow. Once you follow those, 99 or maybe 100% chances are that you will be secure and you will not be breached in, or you will not, because Amazon does not want any of their customer to come crying to them or take them to the court. Hey, you know what, you did not inform us beforehand that is going to happen. So that's why all the service providers, they publish their best practices. And this this warning is one example of that. And you see that once I move to the next stage, again it is giving me that warning that improve it, please improve it. Okay, because you are opening, you are open to the entire world. I hope it answers. Yes. To answer your second question, I don't have the exact percentage at this time with me. I'll find that out. I'll search it and then provide it to you. Actually, I'll send it across to everybody. That what percent of that security component is covered in the in the exam.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
So, Faisal bhai, will that be just for the cloud practitioner or the associate level?
It is for both. Actually, not for both. It is for pretty much all the certification types. I have a thunder rolling in here. Let's hope that I do not have any. If anything happens, I'll try to connect, through my phone. Or if anything happens to the power, I think my laptop is charged. So just to let you guys know, there might be a glitch for some time, and then I'll connect back in.
Faisal bhai, just for a quick discussion on another topic that was raised, I can't recall who asked about credentials management. You know, the secret credentials management. Depending upon what your question is, there are various types of credentials that are managed in cloud. If you're looking for like a database login, username, and password, so AWS Secrets Manager that Faisal bhai has shared earlier, that's one of that utility that will enable you to manage those credentials.
And one more thing, that in the cloud, these are not the only. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So all these services which we showed here, Amazon is not the only provider that offers these services. What Amazon is doing is, hey, you know what? These are the common services I'm hearing lots and lots of, when they come up with this idea, hey, lots and lots of people are asking for it. So why don't we start offering this instead of, they paying to a third party? So, and then, integration with that third party and all that. So, Amazon, start offering, those type of services. They are part of the infrastructure. They are within that, and, people, start using that. Plus, making money as well.
Faisal bhai, a request for a 5-minute bio break.
Okay. All right. So we'll take a break, and I'm gonna cover this piece here, and we'll go directly into the console app.
Inshallah.
All right. So right now it's 7:08. So let's reconvene in 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, and there are some questions about this practice exams and all that. Let me do a quick check, and I will share those while the discussion is happening.
So the slide that you are currently seeing,
yeah,
it has some good content and good material here. Okay, we'll cover that. Let's give you guys a 5-minute break. Okay. I want to take that break as well. I'll be back shortly.
Sure. Yep, Bacher, you shared some Bacher Ali distribution of percentage of questions in that image as to how many questions are in each of the. If I'm not mistaken, that is for the practitioner, correct? The practitioner certification. Yes, okay. Murtaza bhai, your question about AWS has around ISPS. What about the offerings? So there is a AWS marketplace.
Right.
You can actually get third-party services, products integrated in your environment, your cloud environment. And if you have a product that is potentially a viable product to be posted in that marketplace, you can also do that as well. I mean, so they have a onboarding process for the vendors.
So is it officially supported and the same kind of support that they have for the cloud?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. I'm not sure how much you know about networking. Let's say Palo Alto, switches, firewalls, right?
Right.
So companies have like physical devices, Palo Alto devices on their on-prem networks. Palo Alto also provides a virtual appliance for the cloud. So companies that have implemented transit gateways and things like that, they manage the central, the routing of all the services within all the accounts using Palo Alto devices. NetApp is another appliance that I can think of. It provides file services. So instead of buying a physical NetApp on-prem device, you can buy a NetApp virtual appliance in AWS Marketplace, and that appliance will be made part of your network.
Got it.
There are other services like that.
So I know that there is, so those are hardware-based devices or virtual appliance-based devices. Yeah. What about, I mean, there's, people with the developer tracks, they have probably frameworks, open source stuff. There's, I'm sure that there's like mapping technology, EDI, other kind of things. I mean, are they officially, I know that some of the things are officially supported, but some of them I started noticing them in the marketplace versus what we had on the AWS cloud. So why the difference?
I don't know the details.
Yeah.
But I can suspect, depending upon the scope, the market, marketability, and to what degree of confidence that each other, both companies have. They may just attain a different level of, that confidence level or the trust level between the companies.
So is it possible that maybe I'm just suspecting, and I'm speculating here as well. So is it possible that the third-party companies, let's take the example of Kubernetes. Now Kubernetes officially is supported by all cloud providers, but when it was in its infancy stages, I mean, does it happen that if another company or another vendor comes up with a technology and suddenly gets adopted, acquired, or moves into this marketplace before they start entering into other places? I mean, how does that work? Have you seen any example?
As long as they don't have the competing, objectives, then they will. For example, OpenShift has its own platform and whatnot, right? And then Amazon came up with their own EKS service. So it's competing. They work, but they don't work as close to each other.
Got it.
Elasticsearch is another one like that. Red Hat is another one, right? The Red Hat provides Redshift service, the data warehouse. So it's available. They support it to a certain extent, but then they offload it to other things to Red Hat. So it's a mixed bag.
Okay. Just interesting for me to see. So just wanted to see what the difference was in both platforms.
Yeah, the traditional IT platforms way of doing things is all changing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you.
The terminology or in business they call it blue ocean and red ocean.
Yeah.
There's a book on blue ocean as well. If you're interested, I'll
please.
Yes. Very interesting topic in business, applies to technology as well. So blue ocean means like, you're in a blue lagoon, a blue ocean, nobody's there, no shark, no nothing. You start your business and, you expand the scope. Soon as people start seeing you, they will start, coming in. And after a while, it will turn into a, blood infested, Shark Tank, like everybody is there. So Google came up with this, KRS, and then all those companies, they started, building that. Amazon came up with this idea. Companies started follow the suit. So Blue Ocean is, you find the opportunity, you find the niche, you jumped in, made the money, you moved on to the next before it gets, muddy, with all the competitors out there. So similar terminology applies pretty much everywhere, even in your career. That's what I always ask people, hey, find the niche, do not run after the commodity. So commodity is a red ocean. All right, so let's move on here. These are the two good resources. Let me see if I could pull that up for you. These are free trainings available by Amazon. Sorry about that. It tells you that this is, so for today's topic, getting started with AWS IAM, okay? Security, identity and compliance. Fundamental course, 3 hours of learning. What are they gonna cover? What are the course objectives? Everything is right there for you. Sections wise, what are they cover? Remember all those 6 areas, what we, just, went through. It has, more details into it.
Yep, that's good, thank you.
Yeah, it's a free resource by Amazon, and it's not just only this one. If I just open the period for this here for you guys. All right, so you see that EMEA Summit recordings, whatever the summit they had, it's all by domain wise. You can select by specific domain. Let's say you are into DevOps or you are into database. Select that and you will have those e-learnings or the courses, those details around that. Domain wise, you can get the information or recommendation, what Amazon recommend. Let's say you wanted to get started on that. Role wise, let's say you are in a business role, practitioner role, engineer, scientist, developer, operations, whatever. So if I just click on cloud practitioner, so what is the Amazon? There's one, where was it? Like business transformation. There's about their costing model as well, somewhere here, or maybe in other pages. So these are the courses, e-learnings, majority of them free of charge. So try to go pull this URL up and find out that the area which is of interest for you. Skill level, what is your skill level, right? So wherever you want to start from. Let's say if I wanted to go with the fundamentals, and then on the fundamentals I wanted to go for, let's say, databases. So Amazon DynamoDB architecture or database migration, how does it work? Aurora MySQL, how does it work? What are the basics? So tons and tons of information for you guys. Try to bookmark this URL and go visit the URL as frequent as possible. This is not just going to help you out in your certification, but for your learning and also to land into a job, or even if you are currently working, you can always go back and refer to it, if you're stuck somewhere, instead of, you searching for a resource. Hey, who do I, get help from? Okay. I find out this thing real good. Quantum Ledger. We're going to cover, not in depth, but we're going to cover this Quantum Ledger when we're going to do our database session. Okay. Any questions so far before I move into the console?
Faisal Bhai, Ashfaq here.
Yes.
So I've heard these I mean, I know about rule-based and role-based access. What about content-based or context-based? Have you, can you equate those with the rule and role-based access, or are they totally separate? Or
I've not come across with that area, contact-based, the content-based. Kumal bhai.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ashfaq bhai. So when you talk about the content, it depends on where the content is at, right? IAM, the service, one of the capabilities in there is to enable you access based on certain patterns. So for example, when Faisal bhai talks about S3, so S3 access service is different, and then within S3 you have, folders which are called prefixes. IAM will enable you to give access to certain prefixes within an S3 bucket to specific roles. So when Faisal bhai comes to that, inshallah, you will learn about that.
okay, thank you.
But that mostly falls under the RBAC. RBAC is like, one big umbrella.
One question, Faisal bhai. As soon as we launch these servers, the Linux and the Windows server, and you mentioned all of these services are free, will they start automatically by itself, or do we need to, like, my question is a little more advanced. I'm just trying to understand here. Will they start by itself, or do we need to go and enable them, like run them?
So soon as we launch the instance,
Mm-hmm.
you see it is in running state. That means it is running right now, waiting for us to connect and perform our work. So once it is in the running state, that means it is running, no matter what type of instance it is, either Windows or Linux. And your billing meter, actually, soon as it goes into the running state, your billing meter starts, running as well.
So what happens if you make it run forever? Would you eventually get charged?
So for free tier, Amazon per month offers you 750 hours of the. So 750 hours. After that, let's say you hit the 751 hour, you will start, you will be charged for that instance. And that counter resets every month. So
one question, that 750 hours, is that clock time or CPU time?
That's the CPU time. So CPU clock time. Soon as the CPU start running, that's where the clock starts.
So after 750 hours, that's when it suddenly happens, you get charged then?
Yeah, so 750 hours per month is your budget. So you want it to stay within those 750 hours. Now what happened is, let's say yesterday I built 3 instances or 2 instances, and I let them run maybe for 10 minutes. I shut them down. So I am being charged for 2 hours, because for the free tier, how the billing goes is, no matter for a minute I run it or for 59 minutes I run it, I'm going to be charged for an entire hour. So I have already consumed 2 hours yesterday of my instance. So come the first of my billing cycle, whatever the hours I use, that will all go away and the counter resets again. So for the next 12 months, I have 750 hours per month for the EC2 instances. So that is like a plenty of amount of time you have. That's why we urge that, do not leave it running. Even if I leave it running, for hours, I know that I'm not gonna hit 750 hours. I will eventually find out. And in our one of the class, I'm gonna show you how to set the budget and how to set the limit. So as soon as my limit hits, let's say $10, I'm gonna get an email. Or soon as my limit hits for specific hours, I'm gonna get an email. So or an SMS message, whatever you want to configure there. So you configure those limits there. So that tells you, hey, what happened and what is happening now. Kumail Bhai ran into one problem, I think like a year or two ago. There is one service which is called Light Sail. At times, you work on this, EC2 instance, and you forgot that you have the Light Sail running because it runs on a different. So once I click on it, it's going to take me to a different, login. Oh, sorry, different part of the console where I, normally, we normally, do not log in. So Kumail Bhai actually, had that issue, and then he find out. Yeah, Kumail Bhai, you wanna add something here?
You're getting in the right direction. Go ahead, finish your thought.
Okay. So yeah, the thing is, because in the main console, we're gonna be logging into those, main services, EC2 or S3 or RDS and whatever and whatnot. But there are services that actually takes you to the different part of the console. At times, you forget to just power it off, and then that thing is that the counter is running on it. And you will find out once you see the credit card bill.
You pay attention when the money hits certain threshold, saying, oops, then you go back and realize.
Yeah, and then also, if I'm not wrong, it's 5 gigabytes as a limit for how much you put onto the server, right?
Yeah. 5 gig is for your S3 storage. That's plenty of storage for you. We're not gonna be even utilizing that for for a year, even if you play around like crazy. So Amazon has thought through already what to do and how much to offer. It's not that they are giving you something and then try to reel you in with some other charges. So they have done their math already that this is this much amount of time, this much amount of storage is more than enough for a person to learn our infrastructure. That's how they.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, all right. So one thing I want to ask you guys, I'm hoping that everybody. At the start of the class, I asked you guys to have to launch one Linux instance, because we're gonna be doing an add-on lab today, that is to how to launch a basic web server in Linux, and we'll try to access that. So that will cover our some of the area in the security group as well, and also some Linux skills as well. Today I was thinking, and this is Kumail Bhai and my experience in our previous sessions as well. Not very many people are comfortable with Linux or the command line, or they have not worked in the command line. We started Linux when we started this whole endeavor. That was started back in 2013 when we started offering Linux operating system fundamentals at that time. And so at that time, find out people had this struggle on the Linux as well. So what I'm thinking, and I'm gonna be needing your feedback, probably during this class or maybe after this class, I'm gonna create some snippets about the Linux administration, maybe some 10, 20 or 10 or 12 different sessions we'll upload to my YouTube channel. That will give you a basic understanding of Linux, what are the base commands, and how to go around that, and maybe a couple of projects here and there, how to set up a web server, how to set up a mail server, how to set up different type of servers, or maybe those who are in Kumail Bhai's class, how to set up your Express server or JS or Node.js into the cloud, and get that going right there, instead of installing everything on your laptop. So, let me know if you guys are interested. We'll work on that, and we will, I'll work on, creating those videos for you guys.
Faisal, that might be a good thing because even many people, we really don't know about Linux that much. So that might be a good thing. And even if you can talk a bit about, I'm not sure if we require PowerShell or something like that.
PowerShell, PowerShell is actually, not my area. I am more comfortable in the Linux side, Linux scripting and all that. Yeah, PowerShell, I mean, I did work on it, but, my struggle is with, with the Microsoft, forward slashes and backward slashes. In Linux, everything is forward slash. Windows platform, everything is backward slash. And there's a running joke in Linux community that Linux, we are forward looking. That's why we use forward slashes. I don't want to explain the Windows side. I know we have a very, I have one of our, colleague here in this class, he works for Microsoft. So I don't want to, upset him. Anyways, okay. So I assume that everybody has configured, everybody has installed a Linux instance. We'll come to it in a bit. So to this lab, I'm gonna go into the IAM service. Okay, I'm gonna click on services. Right. So right now I am in Amazon Management or Amazon Dashboard.
Faisal bhai?
Yes, sir.
Quick question. So when you are showing the dashboard, right, EC2 dashboard, I do not see, can you go back to EC2 dashboard? I am missing one thing there.
Okay.
I am missing running instances. That's one there. I'm missing that one. And the other thing which I'm missing are volumes one. These are the two things which I don't see on my desktop.
By default, each instance has one volume attached to it. Volume is like one drive attached to the instance. So I have one Linux instance that has one drive attached to it. If I have another Windows instance running, I will have another volume attached to it. So however many instances I have running, pretty much I will have the similar number of volumes running as well. So if you are seeing here 0 in the instance running and the volume is 0, that means that you do not have the Linux instance installed or Linux instance launched yet. You see that I launched one Linux instance. So if you have not done yet, please just quickly, all the basics, click on launch instance and, click, pick the free tier one, pick just, the top one. I don't care about Red Hat or any other type, and go and launch that instance for, and just sit on it for now, and we will come to it in a bit.
Thank you.
Sure. And this is not just for Abu Turab. Anyone else who has not done it yet, please, go do so real quick. All right, so I am in my dashboard right now. So I'm gonna go into the IAM service. So a couple of ways. Either I search for IAM here, okay? It's gonna take me to it. Or I can go into security, identity, and compliance, and I can click on IAM, okay? Either way, it's gonna take me to the similar thing. In your case, you might see everything with warning triangle. In my case, you are seeing 2 green boxes. Don't worry about it. This is what I did for the lab. So I'm gonna, maybe, let me just delete these groups here so that everything is clean slate. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the dashboard here. So this one here as well. I'm gonna delete this user as well. Okay, right now I have a clean slate here, okay? You will see everything 0. Maybe you might see some lesser number of roles, but don't worry about it. But for the security status, you see these 5 things. This is the best practice. Amazon recommends actually, that you should have taken care of them all. Okay. Number one is delete your root access key. Second is activate MFA on your root account. Create individual IAM user. Assign that user to a group, and then put the IAM password policy. You see that I am logged in with my user ID. This is my root account. Linux root is next to guard. In Amazon as well, or Amazon console, root is next to guard. That has access to everything. If this got compromised, everything's gone. People can perform or can do anything, with this account. So whenever we log into our console, there were two boxes. One is on the top box says login with the root account. The bottom one is login with IAM account. So we normally pick the root account, type in the username, type in the password, be done with that. Okay. Now what we are going to do is, I'm not going to go in order here. What we're going to do is we're going to create one IAM user, and then we're going to log in through that IAM user. So what you're going to see some different information along with the name. Okay. And that information is, I think it's a 12-digit account ID that is going to be associated with that account. And with that 12-digit account ID, that tells that I am logged in as an IAM user. The only difference with, although IAM user, I can grant access to everything, but there are a couple of things which IAM user cannot do, only root user can do. One of them is the billing section. So billing is handled by the root user, not the IAM user. Okay, IAM user, and some people or some organizations, they call it named account, that I am logging in with my named account or my EID account instead of this, root account. No matter what type of company or organization you work with, big or small, they do not allow anybody to log in as root account. They keep that root account password safe and secure. Do not share it with anyone else. Okay. All right. So before we go into that, there is an IAM password policy. Okay. We can go from here, or we can go from account settings. In the IAM dashboard, we can go manage password policy, or IAM dashboard, left-hand side, you see the account settings. We can go from there as well. So I'm going to click on it. This is the password policy. Password policy is right now, nothing is enforced except password length is 6 characters. Every organization has different rules. My organization is, for my EID or my employee ID, I need to change password every 75 days. For our server passwords or the instance passwords and instance keys, the policy is 90 days. Like in every quarter, we have to rotate those keys and rotate those passwords wherever it is being used. For our employee IDs, that actually gets us through our laptops, that has to be changed every 75 days. Some organizations enforce it every 60 days, some every 30 days, depends on your organization. But password rotation is, or password changing is enforced by every organization. If you're not talking, can you please put yourself on mute? All right, thank you. So your organization will enforce, whatever the password policy is. Here, my enforcement is 6 characters. I can enforce 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, at least 1 number, 1 alphanumeric character, and then I can enable the password expiration. When I enable the password expiration, whatever the number I type in here.
Faisal bhai?
Yes.
So if you could cancel this, there is a request to go 1 step back. If you could start back from the IAM dashboard.
Okay. All right, so here it is. Let me just quickly, all right. Here it is. I am at my AWS Management Console. I clicked on this AWS, so it took me to AWS Management Console. Here, I'm gonna scroll down and search for security, identity, and compliance. Here I see IAM. So I'm gonna go in there, IAM. Okay. Now under the IAM, you see that everything is yellow warning that I need to change everything or like update everything here. So the very bottom one, apply an IAM policy. Okay, and then I'm gonna click on manage password policy. Clicked on it here. I'm gonna set the password for policy.
Faisal bhai, very quick question. When you're on the previous page, it says delete your root access keys. That's green. How you, if you go back, yeah, that the first one, delete your root access keys. That's green. Check mark. Check mark.
That's okay. That's fine.
Okay.
Because I created one just to show you guys out. Okay. So if it is green for you guys, I'm sure it will be green for majority of us. So don't worry about it. But at this time, my security posture is 0 out of 5. So I'm pretty much failing here. I have to have everything in green so that my security posture is green. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply IAM policy. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go to password policy. It depends on you, your organization, how your organization or how you want it to enforce. Let's say you are the security manager, how you want to enforce your organization wide. You don't want people to have just only 6 characters, only the alphabets or only the numbers. You want it to have a combination of upper and lower cases. You want to have a combination of some numbers there, some special characters as well. You want to enforce the password expiration. Let's say I want to enforce the expiration after 15 days. After the 15th day, the password will be, the account will be logged out. Password expiration require administration reset. Let's say my password is expired. Let's say I was out on PTO. I came back, my account is logged out. What am I supposed to do? So I am giving the administrator the access to reset the password. Now, once the password is reset, what I'm going to do is it is giving me an access. It is allowing me to allow the users to change the password. Okay. So once I log in the first time, it will enforce me to change the password. Prevent password reuse. Like I cannot use previously used 20 passwords. It has to be unique and it cannot be out of those 20 passwords, whatever I used in the previous time, previously. So it all depends on, how you want to enforce that. Okay. I'm gonna let's just enforce it. It's all up to you. If you are comfortable, leave it as is. If you're not, you can uncheck a couple of them here and there. Okay. I save the changes. Password policy has been saved. If I go to the dashboard now, you see that it is green now. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna quickly. It has to start from the bottom up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create one group. Remember the RBAC. You create the group, you assign the user to the group. You create the group, you assign the policy to that group, and then the user will have that policy enforced to it. It's not that you are assigning a policy to the user. So once the user is gone, you forget, hey, what was the policy? And now other guys, you will have to replicate that for other people. So best practice, create the group, create a new group. Okay, I'm gonna just name it as, excuse me, my training group. Let's say you have a set of, let's say I'm gonna go back again here real quick. Sorry guys, we might go over like 10-15 minutes. Okay. All right. So I am creating a finance, let's say HR group, payroll group, sales, finance, or whatever, right? So here, let's say I am creating a training group that I have I have a group of resources that provide the training. So I want to grant them access to certain area. So I just created this my training group. So name the group whatever you feel is it makes more sense, not just for you. Keep bigger picture in your mind. Let's say you did your work, you moved on, but the next guy who comes in, and he'll find out, hey, you know what, and he's going to be cussing you left and right. So you don't want it to be in that situation. So remember, try to be as eligible or as elaborate as possible, so that the next person comes in, or let's say you are filling in someone else's shoes, and if you do not see the group names more in a format that like in understandable form, you will have hard time or struggle on that. So try to be as elaborate as possible. Next step is, okay, now what policy I wanted to attach to it. Amazon offers like over 500 policies at this time. Sorry. There will be more coming down the road. We never know. Okay. First one is administrator access. And then, there are certain specific to a specific service. Let's say I search here S3. There are different S3 related services as well, like S3 full access, that if I assign this to S3 full access, so people will have the write access, read access, or do whatever they want. S3 read only access. Let's say it's a finance team and they wanted to, pull some financial reports. So you don't want to give them a write access to it. So you want to just give them a read access so that they will go in, read the report, and then, be done with that. Because you don't want, or your organization don't want those finance guys to change the numbers here and there, or your accountant to change the number here and there, because once the auditor come, they may question, hey, you know what, I'm seeing the books are cooked. So you don't want to be in that situation. Okay. So that's just, one use case. So you can, provide read only access or write access. Let's say if I search for EC2, there are several different type of EC2, EC2 container services, EC2 Spot Fleet, related services. We have like, some CloudWatch actions or Elastic Beanstalk related services, EC2 full access, EC2 read only access, all that things. So I'm going to send you guys an email as well, but this is your homework. Create one user, first create one group, and then in that group, grant EC2 read-only access, or maybe S3 read-only access, and then try to log in with that user to the console and see if you are able to launch an EC2 instance, or if you are able to perform any work on the EC2 area, because we have done so far EC2 area, we have not touched any S3. So you will receive a detailed details in your email for the homework. All right, so let's say if I just pick, okay, so this is the administrator access. If I pick this, it will give you access to pretty much everything in the console except the billing side. Okay. All right, so I'm going to click next here. Next is to review that. I reviewed it. All right, so the group is created. So now the group is my training group, and it has access to everything. It has the administrator access. All right, so now I'm going to go to the users. Okay, I click on users here. I'm going to add a user. Okay, it's up to you how you want to name the user. Some organizations, they go with first initial character and then the last name. Some organizations, they go with first and the last name. Some, they go with first underscore last name, or last name, or whatever you want. So I just pick my first initial and then the last name. Okay. Now AWS access. Two types of access AWS offers. One is the management console access. I'm sorry if you're not able to see this here. Okay. First is AWS management console access, like the console we log in. Second is the programmatic access, which is that it grants you the access to the access key and the secret access key. And that is used for the command line, for the API work, for the CLI, for software development kit or SDK, or any other development environment. So mainly that grant you access to the command line. the very last session where we're going to talk about the AWS CLI and IAC piece. That's where it's going to come in handy for us. Okay, so right now, let's say, let's just pick, both of them. It doesn't harm. All right, so password, auto-generate a password or custom password, like you wanted to provide the password or let AWS pick the password. So let's say if I pick the auto-generated password, require password reset, right? User must create a new password at next sign in. That means as soon as I log in, it's gonna prompt me a window. Old password, new password, type in new password again. So it's gonna ask me this question. Or you don't want to change the password, you just leave it as is. So it's not gonna ask you for the password change. Right, so I'll just pick it here. I want you to create, let's say, multiple users. For one user, pick this, one user, pick this, one user, type in your own password, one user, go with the auto-generated password, okay? Try all those combinations, okay? Next one is permissions. How you wanna permit this user. Amazon is telling you to set the permission for this user. That means to add this user to the group. We have created only one group here, okay? Or it is giving me an option to create an additional group if I want it, okay? So I'm gonna just pick this group for this user to access. Next, if I wanted to, put any, tag there. So let's say department, and the value is, let's say, that this user is part of the department, finance department. Next is review. These are the information. All right, so click on create user. This area is important. It is giving me that this is my access key ID. This is my secret key. These are used for the command line, like, API or, CLI access. Not at this time, down the road, yes. Password, remember we picked Amazon to, come up with a random password. If I click on it here, it's just, one random password. I have two options. Either I download the CSV file, keep it with me, or I can copy the password, or I can send an email. So I'm gonna just click on send email. Let's say I am going to send it to, I'm gonna send it to myself, okay? And I'll show you two guys as soon as I receive that email. I'll wait for the email, and I'll download that CSV as well, so I could show it to you. Not a good practice to keep those passwords and the keys locally. Just to show you guys.
So Faisal Bhai, if you save this as a CSV file, and the global configuration is that the user will have to change the password upon login, the password then becomes obsolete, right?
Password will be obsolete, but the access key and secret key will not. You do not use, yes. And they have the similar access as password, so you don't want it to, get those revealed.
Okay, I get it. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so here it is telling me this is my username, this is my password, access key, secret key, and then the console login link here. Okay, I got the email. Let me show it to you guys. This is what the email you expect to receive. Okay, you now have the access to the Amazon console ending with this. Sign on URL is this. This is the username. Password is separate, and the other things here. So I have the password here. So what I'm going to do is All right, so look at this URL here. Now my login URL will be different. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is, let me do one thing here. So this part is complete. I'm gonna click close here. Are you guys with me so far? Any question?
One question, why didn't it send the email? So if it's an admin, how would they send the email if it's not coming in an email automatically?
Okay, so what okay, let me play back your question, that why did it send the email?
But not the password in the email.
Yeah, that's not the good practice to send the password in the email.
So if I'm an admin, then do I have to email the password to the user separately?
It depends on, company policies. Let's say you have the security enabled on your Outlook, so you send it, confidentiality is set up there, so you will send a encrypted email that do not forward, do not copy or whatever, and
Right.
you send the password there. Or it depends, how your organization has set it up. I have worked with one client. Their security policy was we cannot send emails. The only option was, at that time, we used to use Skype, not anymore. We are on Teams now. So at that time, the client was using Skype. So the admin used to have the video connection with the guy, share the screen, show it to him, and then guy just, type it somewhere, locally there.
One more quick question. Some companies have, I don't know if AWS has this, but you create a username, but then you go and reset your password. So the user gets the email and says, if you want to get your password, reset your password automatically and basically create your own password. AWS does not have that capability.
So AWS is, remember when I created this user here, let me just create one more user. Okay. I'm going to just go to the console user. See this auto-generated. So take it as OTP, or one-time password. Okay.
Okay.
So this one-time password, if I even provide it to you, I have enforcement here. User must create a new password at next sign in. So as soon as I log in, I will have to change the password. It's not going to take me forward until I change the password. Okay. So this is OTP. This is like one-time password.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right. So those who missed it previously. So add user, I clicked on this programmatic access management, auto generate, and must create a password next sign in, next permissions. I'm going to just, put this user in the same group. All right. Next is the tag. I'll just, department, and I'm going to just name it as, let's say, marketing example. Next, review. Everything looks okay to me. Create the user. User is created. I can download the CSV here. Okay. And also I can send the email to the user. Okay. Now I have two users created. This second user has a different, although the account ID, must be the same. All right, so I'm going to click close here. Now I have two users that are created. Now I created the group, assigned the role to it. Then I created the user, assigned the user to that group. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign out, and remember, look, all right. So make sure that, you're seeing it here, only my name. One more thing you're seeing here, it is global. So IAM policies are global. They are not applicable to only one specific region or one specific zone. It is global all across the Amazon. Okay. So I'm going to just sign out here real quick. So I sign out. I'm going to sign into the console, not with this. So I'm going to, all right, sorry guys. It is giving me option either sign in with the root user or with an IAM user. If I click on IAM user, it's going to ask me about my 12-digit ID or the alias. If we have not set the alias yet. So now what am I supposed to do with that? So I have two options. Either I can go to the link here, that CSV file which we downloaded. I can, click on that link or copy this 12 digit from here, or let me just simply, you know, let me just copy it here. I'm gonna paste in here. See the URL is changing. All right, so here now what you see is I am signing in as IAM user. This is my 12 digit ID, account ID populated to it. What is my IAM username? My IAM username was FBoss, which I put in. Password, I don't know the password, so I'm gonna go back to the spreadsheet here, copy the password here. Make sure you do not copy any spaces like before or after. Paste the password, sign in. As soon as I sign in, you see what it is asking me. It is asking me, provide the old password. Now type in the new password, and I enforce everything. Small, large, small alphabet, capital alphabet, number, at least one number, at least one special character. So I have to follow all those, you know, rules here.
Like if we would have used the link from the email, this most of the things would have been pre-populated, right?
Same thing. Yeah, exactly. The link is the same. Let me just confirm password and I'll show it to you. All right, so let me show you the email again. Let me just put the email and the spreadsheet side by side, okay? So on the spreadsheet, if I go in here, you see the console link, and in the email, you see that link, the URL is the same in the email and in the spreadsheet, okay? All right, so I am logged in with my IAM user. It is, you know, it is showing me pretty much everything the same, but here what I'm seeing is my user ID and my account number, 12-digit account number. 12-digit account number is not a good practice to display it to the rest of the world. So we create the alias for that. Region is my default as, you know, North Virginia. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sign out from here, and we already 4 minutes over. I'm gonna sign into the console. I'm gonna, now it is asking, I wanted to log in as a root user. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sign in, click on the sign in root user email. Okay, here it is. It has taken me back to my root user account. I'm gonna log in to this account. That's my root account, and then password. I think I remember my passwords to remember. All right, I am logged into my root account again here. You see that? Okay. All right, so here I'm gonna go into my EC2. Come on, cooperate, please. Okay, here, if you remember, we launched one EC2 instance, which was our Linux instance. I'm gonna go into the running instances. Inside the running instance, I will have to pick a couple of things. One is the IPv4 DNS. I'm gonna click here. I copied that. I'm gonna launch PuTTY. In the PuTTY under the session. All right, so COMLY, where is the plus sign? All right, so here it is. I hope you guys see it now. So under the sessions, what I'm gonna type EC2-user add, and then I'm gonna paste that machine, you know, the server name here. I pasted it here. At the left-hand side, I'm gonna expand on SSH, highlight on auth, browse. I'll look for the, sorry, where is it? Look for that, my PPK Linux key. I pick that up. Once I pick that up, I'm gonna click open. It should let me in. Yes. All right, so let me just, So I am logged into the Linux machine here. Let me increase the size here. Change the settings, and I'm gonna go to the appearance under Windows, click change. Let me just make it 20 for you guys to make it more visible. Okay. All right, so I am logged into my Linux machine here. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a couple of Linux commands, okay? One is for Mac guys, this is like you are going to your App Store and then, you know, download the latest packages or install the package. For Windows guys, let's say I'm going to some third party and then download, let's say like you guys downloaded PuTTY and then configure that. So Yum is a package manager that goes, there are certain repositories where you could go in and download your required package, okay? So I'm gonna type in the command yum. What I'm doing is, you see that there are, you see the message here, 9 packages needed for security out of 16 available. Run sudo yum update to apply all updates, okay? So we'll copy the command sudo yum update -y. Right, so all these 16 packages, it find out needs to be updated, and it is running, you know, all the required updated packages, doing the cleanup. 31 out of 31 are updated right now. Okay, let it finish real quick. Come on, come on. All right, so once it does not take this long, I don't know why it is taking this long here. Just, it happens normally right there. All right, so it's completed now. It completed. Okay, so to clear the screen, Windows CLS here, it's clear, CLEAR. Okay, clears the screen. Now I'm gonna type one command, sudo yum install httpd -y. -y means that it's not going to prompt me for the yes. It'll just take that answer as yes. Now I have a web browser, or sorry, web server installed now. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to elevate my rights, elevate myself as root. Okay. And this prompt actually tells me, if the prompt is $, you see the $sign here, that tells me that I am not root. Okay. So there are multiple ways of doing things. So just to be, just to, quickly go over things, sudo -i, you see that it was EC2-user at this machine name with a $ prompt. Now it's root at machine name, and the prompt is a $sign instead of $sign. So $sign tells me that I am root, plus the username is also mentioned, at the start now. So I am root, so I do not need to run those, sudo commands. I'm just run directly all those commands. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cd2 var www html. That's the directory where a basic web server resides in. If I do ls, which is a command for listing, -l, which is longitudinal listing, it is showing me 0. There is no file. There is an editor called vi. Okay, vi editor. I'm going to edit, or I'm going to create and edit one file, index.html. If those who are in Kumailbhai's class, then Kumailbhai creates a file index.js. So we're creating index.html. The way web servers are set up decades ago, that the first file that is going to be hit, let's say you type google.com, amazon.com, or whatever.com, the first file name has to be index. Okay, that's why we're building this index.html. So all right, so let me just type in here, you know what, I'll just type h1 header 1. Welcome to close that header. Maybe Kumail bhai, you know, we'll create some classes for HTML and CSS as well.
Inshallah, yes. I'll do that.
Okay, I'll just, you know, add one line here. Okay, WQ for save and exit. All right, so now I have the index file here. Now I have to, right now, if I check the status, my web server is powered off. So I'm gonna just, you know, start it off. So systemctl status HTTP. You see that. So this is the status command, is showing me the status that HTTP server is inactive or dead right now. So I'm gonna do this here, or maybe restart. Okay. So if I run up arrow key or down arrow key, up arrow keys takes you to the previous command. I hit up arrow key twice, status command. So you see that I ran the command here. You see the status is active, green, running. That means my web server is currently running. How do I access that? I'm going to go to my EC2. I'm going to copy this IPv4 DNS, copy this. Remember the one which we put into the PuTTY? I'm going to go open one tab here. I'll type in here. What's going to happen, guys? Is it going to show me the web page which I just created, or do I have to do something else as well? Right now it is showing connecting, it's trying to connect. What's going to happen?
Web server is dead, so it will show.
The web server is up. See that? You know, this is status command. I restarted the web server and then I ran the status command. It's showing me the active run. But still, it's saying that the site can't be reached.
Did we enable the service, like the web service?
So web server is running. It is enabled in the Linux server.
Do we need to add a rule for it, inbound rule or outbound rule?
Sure. Yes.
Did
Yeah.
we open the HTTP port for this? Like
Exactly. Manzar and Hassan, yes, you guys are right. So we have to enable a port access.
we have to open it.
Remember yesterday's, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying we need to open the HTTP port 80.
Correct, exactly. Remember yesterday's session, inbound and outbound. So this is inbound, somebody's trying to get in. We have only port 22 open. So we need to have port 80 open as well for it to, you know, serve that. So I'm gonna do is here in my Linux, let me just bring it up here real quick. You see that there will be a security group mentioned somewhere here. All right, used to have that. Why don't I see it now?
It's on the right hand side.
Security group here. So yeah, thank you. Security group name is MySG Cloud Training, the one which we created. Okay, so I can edit from here, or I can scroll down here, go to security groups. And remember yesterday I told you the security groups, you update on the fly and it will open the access right there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, so here my server is keep on trying. Here, I'm going to just put it here side by side. If you guys able to see that, what I'm going to do is, yeah, you know what, let me just do it here. All right, so here I have highlighted my security group cloud training. We have the inbound rule that has only port 22 and 3389. So I am going to click on action, edit the inbound rule. I'm going to add our HTTP. By default, port 80, custom. So I'm gonna just pick 00 like I did for rest of them. Save it here. As soon as I saved it, you see that on that browser, it picked, and you are able to see that the web server is accessible. Now, I'm gonna copy and paste it here in the chat. I want everybody try to access this page, you should see this response. Welcome to cloud training. Why? Because we have enabled access for everybody here, 40000. Everybody should have gotten this response. Okay. So this is how basic it is to just create a web server. Okay. After this class, after Kumail Bhai's class, I want you guys to build as many web pages as you want. Okay. Put it in here, make a use of your EC2 service. 2 more services we're gonna work afterwards. One is S3. S3 also gives you the capability to put your code in, and with that code, you will be able to, access your browser or access your website. Third one is the IAC, or through the command line. So yeah, there are multiple ways of doing it. So building a web server, running a web server, putting a website, it's not that difficult. Okay, so you guys learn one more thing here, how to run a Linux web server. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna stop it here. Any questions? Okay, one more thing. I actually came up with one good code, and let me just do it one thing. So I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna create one more. Remember, PWD is present working directory. It is telling me I am under var www.html. And if I do ls-l listing longitudinal, it's showing me there is one file index.html created July 10th. And these are the permissions and the ownership. Another command which is of importance is date. It tells me that this is the date of the server and then whatever the time zone is it in. Uptime command tells me this server is up for over 2 hours. What's it, 2 hours, I guess? Yeah. And one user is there. This is the average load, okay, onto the server. Another command is W, just alphabet W, hit enter. It will tell you this is EC2 user logged in here, okay? All right, so I am going to do is I'm gonna create one more file. I'm gonna call it as about.html, okay? Escape. So I am in the insert mode right now. Let me find that code real quick, and do not judge me, Kumail Bhai, about copying the basic code. All right, so this code has a refresh for the content. After 8 seconds, it will refresh and it'll take me to this URL. First, I'm gonna see, I'm supposed to see this hello cloud class, and then after 8 seconds, this will take me to the other URL. All right, so I save the file. Now, in order to make this happen, let's see. If I just type here /about.html, I have the file in here. Run the counter, and after 8 seconds, it took me to the next URL. So it's like, it is called URL redirection. And then there's a thing called URL hiding. So it will show some other URL and taking you to a different URL, just like call forwarding type thing. Anyways, so this code, whatever I just typed in, I can type the command cat. It shows me, okay, let me clear the screen, cat about.html. This is the code. So I'm going to send you, this whole thing, so you guys can, play around with that. And more code will coming in, down the road. We're not going to be, running any HTML, but, just to show it to you guys. Yes, Murtaza, I'm going to be talking about Cloud9, not in this class, in subsequent classes as well. And yes, I will be sending the VI commands as well. Okay, there's another command called history. It tells me the entire history ever since I have this machine. I have, ran all these commands here. So we'll be sending it to you guys, everything. Okay. I'm gonna stop here. Any questions that you guys have? And one more thing is, can we have our, can we push our Saturday session to Sunday? Same time, 11 to 12 on Sunday instead of Saturday.
So were we going to do it this Sunday or next?
No, this Sunday.
I'm good.
I was supposed to do it on Saturday, but I find out that, there's some family commitment. So I wanted to push it to Sunday if you guys are okay with that. That will be 12th July. Okay, perfect. So I'll be sending out, keep an eye out on your emails. I'll be sending out, a couple of emails to you guys. And, we'll take that, from that point forward. Those who have created a Linux machine or Windows machine or instance, please try to power it off, or sorry, please terminate that. So the time, Savika, the time will be 11 to 12 p.m. Central, which is Chicago time. Okay, perfect. All right, so I think Komal bhai, we can close the recording.
Faisal, can you send me